So the citizenship by investment program is a conversation that we have been having now for the past couple of weeks. And this all started when we saw that infamous list from the Trump administration. And on that list, we saw 4 Caribbean islands that are part of the citizen by investment program. Fast forward, last week we saw the European Union moved a motion that could see the 5 Caribbean islands that are part of the Citizen by Investment program, that those islands could lose visa-free access to the European Union, to the UK, and to the Schengen region in Europe. And now that sparked a lot of conversation in the Caribbean community. Why would this be happening? Is it because they're trying to limit the Caribbean that are part of this program for using these funds for their development? Does this have anything to do with race? Because a lot of people that are accessing this program now is coming out of China, Africa, and India. And for the first time now, we are hearing reaction from the Grenadian official of what is going on with this program and the impact that this could have on Grenada. So this report is taken from the GBN News, local news in Grenada. So this is what they had to say.
Is among several Caribbean nations that may face challenges to their visa-free access to the European Union, following a vote by the European Parliament's Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs. The committee approved amendments to the EU visa regulations targeting countries that operate citizenship by investment programs. Grenada, along with Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia, offer citizenship in exchange for financial investments. The proposed amendments aimed to address concerns regarding these programs. According to Investment Migration Insider Daily, the amendment was approved by the committee responsible for implementing the visa suspension mechanism with a vote of 41 in favor and 10 against. Thomas Anthony, CEO of the Investment Migration Agency in Grenada, revealed that as recent as January, a team from Grenada visited the EU to hold discussions.
We continue to work with the Europeans in terms of addressing some of the concerns that they've raised with us. We meet with them on a regular basis. As recent as in January this year, a delegation from Grenada, including the Prime Minister, myself and the chairman of the program, were in London talking to UK representatives, US representatives, and the EU representatives. And so we continue to make changes to the program in keeping with some of the concerns that they've raised with us. So the most significant change that we're making collectively in the region is the regional regulator. You would have seen recently that the interim regional commission was in Grenada consulting. Before that, they were in Dominica and St. Kitts. This week, they'll be in St. Lucia. Next week, they'll be in Antigua. The aim is to have a draft legislation before policymakers next month. And beyond that, seeking to have the legislation before the various parliaments before the end of the summer, so that the Europeans would have indicated that this would give them some comfort that we are all operating on the same standard. The Europeans' position, in my view, is an ideological position in that the granting of citizenship to individuals without any what they call genuine link is unfamiliar to them.
Okay, so that report was taken from GBN, Grenada's local news. So let me start at the end right there. The granting of citizenship to people with no genuine link to Grenada. What does that mean? So if you remember when I broke the first story, I spoke about a very popular African YouTuber from Nigeria, and his name was Teo. And Teo released a video where he went through the process of how he obtained his citizenship for St. Kitts and Nevis. In that video, he walked people through the process. And I remember saying at the time, this was a bad idea for him to do this video on YouTube because he's a very popular YouTuber that get millions of views. And I think that video in particular got over 1.5 million views. And the reason why I believe that that was a bad idea, it's because it would put St. Kitts and Nevis at risk in terms of their citizen by investment program. Because Teo obtained this citizenship, obtained the passport because as a Nigerian, he had a lot of problem traveling across the world because of the Nigerian passport. Everyone knows that the Nigerian passport is one of the weakest passports in the world. And if you have the Nigerian passport, you spend a lot of hours online trying to get visa. So he went through this process and this was easier for him to travel. And in the video, it clearly showed that he had no intention to relocate to St. Kitts and Nevis. He just wanted the freedom of travel without the hassle. And that is one of the problems that the Citizen by Investment Program is facing, because originally, people that participate in this program would normally relocate to the Caribbean. They would purchase a house or they would go into business in these Caribbean islands. So it would benefit the Caribbean island in numerous ways. Like you'd pay for the program, that money would go to like government buildings, roads, hospital, police, vehicle, fire truck, stuff like that. And then you would, in return, invest in the island. You'd purchase a house, you'd start a business, and it's a win-win for these islands. But what's been happening in recent time, just like Teo, a lot of people have been obtaining these passports and they would go back to their country with no intention of relocating to the Caribbean. And that's a big problem. And this is not just happening in the Caribbean, because I live in Canada and the Canadian passport is one of the strongest passports also. And I'm sure you're going to hear this in the future of Canadian citizens losing their passport eventually, because what's been happening in Canada is that there are people that are coming to Canada from like India, from different places all over the world. And as soon as they get their passport, they just leave Canada. And I guarantee you that this is going to be the next story, that you're going to see even Canadian citizens losing their passports, because the intention is that, like, look, if you become a citizen of any of these countries, like Canada and any of the European countries, that you have access, because of their passport, you have access to the world. They are going to expect for you to be in the country. They're going to want you to live in the country, not come and get the passport and then leave and go back to your country. So this is what's going to be happening in the future. And people are confused about why is America involved in it. And in my first video, I stated that the American visa, that the islands that are part of the Citizen by Investment Program, that they could travel to America visa free, which that was incorrect. But the reason why the Americans are so interested in this is because I stated in the last video, if you are from, for example, from Nigeria, Nigeria was one of the countries that was on Donald Trump's last list that was banned. If you are from places like Zimbabwe, that's on that list, and you are able to obtain a Citizen by Investment Program in the Caribbean and get a passport from there, you can get a visa to America very easy. And what the Americans are saying is that you could obtain that visa under a false premise that, like, look, you are from these Caribbean islands. And if the Americans don't run a background check to know that you're from Nigeria or from places like Zimbabwe, then they could believe that you're from somewhere in the Caribbean. So that was one of the problems that why America is involved in this. And I know we in the Caribbean, we all have our opinion where this is concerned. And some of it is genuine. Like a lot of people in the comment section from these islands, from St. Lucia, from St. Kitts, have left comment in the comment section saying that, yes, they believe that the government is abusing the system and so forth. So we all have our opinion on this, but we just have to wait and see what happens with the European Union, what is going to be the verdict if the European Union, if these islands are going to lose their visa-free access to Europe. So guys, sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on this. What do you think about, Grenada coming out now? And obviously, it's something that's been going on behind the scene for months, because in that clip, you could see that the Prime Minister of Grenada, along with other officials, they have been back and forth having discussions with the European Union. And we have heard similar things coming out of St. Kitts and Nevis. So sound off in the comment section and let me know your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen to these programs? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. And remember, peace. I'm out.